If you're a neurodivergent multipotentialite, you probably have identity issues. You don't know who you are, and that makes you a seeker. So you probably take personality tests, or maybe you're into philosophy or spirituality or tarot or astrology, or maybe you're into them all. And the reason you do that is because you're trying to discover who you truly are, because you get a sense that you have more than one identity. You're constantly evolving. So in existential philosophy, they say we're not human beings, that we're actually human becomings, because we're constantly evolving dynamically, emotionally, through our identities, okay? And this is because we have a lot of contradictions. So, for example, we have lots of ideas, but we can't make decisions. We love learning, but we get bored easily. We're purpose-led. We want to change the world. We want to help people, but we don't know who to help, which is incredibly frustrating. We're highly sensitive people who avoid conflict, but in terms of our sense of injustice or fairness, anything about cruelty to animals, or maybe Palestine or the planet or Trump or whatever, we will run through fucking walls. We turn into fucking injustice warriors, right? And this is the most tragic, I think, is we're the most highly creative, talented people on the planet in terms of our creativity, our ideas, our entrepreneurship, science, etc. But we're the least likely to publish our work because we have this fear of being seen, we've got this fear of being rejected, and that's because we were brought up in a neurotypical society where we were told we weren't good enough, so we started masking, we started hiding, keeping our ideas to ourselves, etc. Okay? Now this creates a lot of stress and anxiety because we don't know who we truly are, and that's because we don't know what we do. So for example, if you're at a party, they'll ask your name. The second question is, what do you do? You then have to define who you are in a single sentence, which is a very, very difficult thing for us to do because we have got so many different talents, we get so many different parts of ourselves, okay? So in a neurotypical society, a capitalistic society, what you do is who you are, okay? So for example, if you want to be a creative director, a copywriter, a coach, a creator, artist manager, or indeed if you are all these things, you don't know how to define yourself, okay? So you don't know who you are because you don't know what you do. And this is something that happens all the time. And this is because we have lots of different archetypes within us. So let me explain why this is, okay? So I spent 28 years as an artist manager managing neurodivergent multipotentialites. I've spent 3 years as a coach, coaching hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in personal brands, etc. And this is what I've discovered, that there's 5 different archetypes that we all have, and these are different parts of our character. We tend to have one dominant one, which can change from time to time. If you're interested in knowing what yours is, there's a free quiz, link in my bio, etc., etc. But there's a free quiz that takes you through this process, okay? But basically, there is 5 different archetypes, okay? So there's the perfectionist, the authentic creator, the rebel, the social disruptor, and the wounded healer. So let me explain how these are all parts of our character. So perfectionism is our fears and our social conditioning. If you haven't seen previous videos, we live in a neurotypical society. They're the dominant neurotype. We're obviously neurodivergent. So all the rules, the conventional wisdom, the regulations, etc., are created by neurotypicals for other neurotypicals. They don't work for us. We were rejected. We're, either, you're called lazy. You say, you could be anything you want to be if it's only you focus. It's either you're told you're not good enough, that's either directly or it's implied. So as a result of that, we feel rejected, and because we feel rejected, this means we become perfectionists because we're always trying to fit in. Okay, we're always seeking external validation because we've been told we're not good enough to be good, to feel good enough. Okay, now the antidote to this is being an authentic creator. So this is our true creative selves, because our creativity is our authenticity. As far as I'm concerned, that's the essence of who we are. Okay, so wounded healer is our purpose. The social disruptor is our worldview, our sense of fairness and justice. Our rebel archetype is our hatred of being told what to do. Now you will find that all these are parts of your character, and as a result they're all different archetypes, and that's why you get a sense you're constantly flip-flopping from one to another. But let's go into this in more detail and I'll explain. So the perfectionist is our ground zero. This is basically where we all are, and we have to transcend this. Now you'll never fully transcend this. There's always going to be a part of you that's a perfectionist. That's just the way it is. However, it's been able to put your ideas and get your creativity out there despite this, okay? Now, what is our perfectionism, right? Well, it's our fear of failure. It's our fear of not being good enough. It's our black and white thinking. It's our people pleasing. It's our fear of rejection. And this is all because of, as I say, we were born in a society that actually rejects us, but we have to transcend this, okay? Now, how do we do that? Well, this is basically, perfectionism is conforming to other people's expectations of us, and that's why we're perfectionists. We want to live up to their standards. The way to get out of that is to be authentic, right? And that's to start caring what we think as opposed to caring what other people think. So this is internal validation as opposed to external validation. And how do we do this? Well, our goal is to become our true creative self. It's to become who we truly are. And how do we do that? Well, we have to discover our core values, and then we have to make decisions based on our core values. Now, we're creating an interactive guided course course and an AI assistant app to deal with a specific problem, but that's another video for another day. We have to embrace our curiosity. Why? Well, our curiosity is our authenticity, right? You can't fake curiosity. You're either curious about something or you're not, right? So by embracing and following our curiosity, that is actually us making authentic decisions, and this is very helpful. Mindfulness is just being in the present. So you can ruminate about the past, or you beat yourself all as much as you want. That's not going to help you. We can't change the past, and we can't predict the future. Our future is where all our anxiety is. To be our authentic selves, to be get into creative flow, and to do all these kind of things is to be in the present. We've got a lot of integrity, of course, and our goal, as I said earlier, is to be our true creative selves. Now, our wounded healer, that's our purpose. We experience problems and challenges, and we overcome them. That's what we do. We're problem solvers, okay? And this is why we're so good as entrepreneurs, creators, etc., because we basically are great at solving problems because of our divergent thinking brains. So basically, we overcome problems, and then we help other people solve the same problems. Now, this is about us sharing our stories of vulnerability, and this helps other people feel seen and heard, because we've got the compassion to let them know that they're not alone, okay, that they feel understood. And we've got a lot of wisdom because we've experienced the problem, we've overcome the problem, we know about all the limiting beliefs, the insecurities, the fears, but also all the skill acquisitions and the tactics and the strategies to actually overcome the problem. Now, by helping other people feel seen and heard, we feel seen and heard, and that means we get radical acceptance. So really, even though we're helping other people, we're actually helping ourselves simultaneously, okay? So selfish altruism, I call it. Here is the Social Disruptor archetype, and this is basically our sense of justice. This can get triggered. So basically, because we are a minority group, neurodivergents are obviously a minority group in a neurotypical society. We empathize deeply with other minority groups who are oppressed. So things like Palestine, or maybe the cruelty to animals, the planet. Where you probably find that you're very triggered at the moment with your Social Disruptor archetype because it's the American election, and of course Trump's all his rhetoric is about misogyny, racism, about oppressing minority groups, okay? And that really triggers us in our sense of justice, okay? So you're probably feeling a lot of this right now. We have advocacy, accountability, and this is this part of our character. And this is the Rebel Archetype, okay? So this is us, the contrarians within us. This is us rebelling against what we are told. So for example, I call this bit here, fuck you energy. If someone tells me that I can't do something, I'm like, fuck you, I'm going to go and prove you wrong. Whereas if I tell myself I can't do something, then I can't do it, because that's obviously a limiting belief. Again, another video for another time. But basically, this is fuck you energy. So I love it when people tell me I can't do something, because I'm like, fuck you, I'm going to prove you wrong, okay? And this gives me a lot of resilience and innovation. I love disrupting the status quo. I always have. For 2 years, I had a child psychologist enforced by my high school because I had oppositional defiant disorder. I rebelled against the societal norms and the structures within school because they were all bullshit. They were created by neurotypicals for other neurotypicals. It didn't work for me, okay? And this means I take a lot of fucking risk, and this is why we're such good entrepreneurs, creators, etc., is we take risks, we think outside the box, inverted commas, and this is why you feel that you have all these different archetypes within you. As I say, there's one dominant, that can change from time to time. You might find because of the election and Trump and his rhetoric that you're more aligned with Social Disruptor right now, whereas after the election you might go back to, or whatever. But anyway, there's a link in my bio if you want to find out what archetypes you are. But this is why you constantly feel like this. In order to build personal brands and indeed business brands, it's about stacking these things up. It's not about being one of those things at any given time. It's about stacking them all up, and this is your authentic self, your true creative self. So I hope this helps. Peace out.